Hey guys, this is Anand, and I have three really nice gameplays in the M26 Pershing to share today. I know I've done the Pershing before, but it's still one of my most requested tanks because I think people struggle with it a little bit, and I can see why unless you're using it the right way. And I just had a lot of footage stocked up on it, so I decided to do it. So on Castilla, I try and pop over there, but sometimes in these low power weight ratio mediums, I hit that thing funky. And if I don't roll up on it absolutely perfect right off the bat, I like to swing around because I can still get around to it before it gets spotted. That way I'm not wasting a bunch of time in the battle. Actually, this is like my second game back from a week-long vacation of not playing at all, so I just blame it on rustiness there because that was clearly not pretty. But the game turns out okay, so I think it's worth that little bit of a problem. So I like to roll right up here in this spot when I'm on the side, especially if I have a tank with a strong turret like the Pershing does. But I guess that's one of the misconceptions too. The Pershing doesn't necessarily have a strong turret, it has an extremely strong mantlet that covers a large portion of the turret. So the side of the turret and the top can still be penned, but if you're at any range at all and moving around, it's very difficult to get a penetrating shot there. So I'm just putting this tank to work. So you can see I rolled back instantly after shooting that Ferdinand. I just know from experience that any tank that's down at the base of that hill like he was, if you roll out far enough to fire, he's going to spot you because of just the view range there, so that's why I'm careful. That Tiger 1 has got a little bit of tunnel vision going on me here while I'm just working back and forth, so I'm trying to make sure I don't stay spotted for very long, because the accuracy of the Tiger 1 is pretty nice, and he could start to whittle me down a little bit. So luckily he goes ahead and rolls out enough again so I can go ahead and put that shot into him, and now even though he's not the easiest shot there, I want to go ahead and do it because he was clearly paying a lot of attention to me, and that's not something I want since I'm essentially working in kind of a mid-range sniper role here. And my team is already clearly struggling pretty good. We lost our light right off the bat because he overflanked, and then there we lose two more real quickly. So we're staying in it, but we're down one tank right now. So I'm working on this Ferdinand because he's got himself really exposed. I missed that shot into the corner. I should have been shooting APCR, but now I'm just hanging out until I see that gun point at me. I knew I was spotted, but if he's not going to look at me, it doesn't matter. And that's just a matter of kind of staying aware and watching the gun and knowing if you can hang out or not. So once he kills that frontline spotter, I really want to make sure I can get him before he goes invisible again, because that's a pretty big gun to have in the game. It didn't necessarily look like he was running the top gun, but any tank destroyer is pretty dangerous, especially because we're really not looking like we're in a great position here. Happy that the IS-6 has rolled forward because I was obviously bouncing a ton of shells off of him earlier. It's just such a troll tank, as I think most of us know, so it's something you have to be careful with. But if he's going to keep exposing himself like that, I'm going to go ahead and take the easy kill. But I can see right now as I roll back, I haven't been watching my team's health too much, but they're both one-shots, one drops. The Tiger 2 is pushing, so I know my other one is going to fall. I'm trying to track that Tiger, but I just can't quite get the shell to go in. And now it's a 1 versus 3 situation. So I'm thinking about running, but I'm just kind of watching this Tiger, and I see he's pushing forward. He knew I was shooting from this side, so he's probably trying to push through and get a spot on me. So that's why I wait. I didn't think I'd be able to get a spot, and that's why I went and fired that blind shot that didn't go in. But luckily my view range is far enough that I was able to hang out and let him roll out. But again, like I was saying, just from experience, I know that firing at a tank in that area is going to get me spotted. And with a light and a tank destroyer left, I need to be really cautious. I haven't seen either of them in this battle, so I'm afraid they're both full health. Luckily that type pops up, and I would have been willing to eat 2 shots to get him right there if I needed to, because it's a really dangerous tank, and it's something that's really hard to track down. Now I'm assuming that J Panther is pretty healthy, because I definitely haven't seen him, and so that's why I go ahead and go this long range. I'm also kind of just thinking of the positions he's probably in that we haven't been spotting. I'm thinking he could be in the central ridge line, close to their spawn 1, or maybe all the way in the back here. I also want to keep an eye on cap, because a lot of times when there's a medium left, TDs like to run to cap just because they think they can't catch you, even though J Panther certainly can, and also with the time level. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it, but this tank is just not fast in general. especially for a medium, and I think that's what part of the reason some people struggle with it. The whole armor's not very good, the speed's not very good. It's all about the mantlet and the gun depression, so you've got to really be working those attributes of this tank to do well in it. And honestly, for me, it's probably my go-to number one clutch tank if I feel like I just need, if I'm helping someone with a stock tank, or I just feel like I need to clutch because I've been having some tough teams. This is the one I go to because it's really hard to defend when you play it right. So the J Panther has rolled into cap, and after I killed that dragon is when I realized I am up for a Rossini here too, so I'm not going to mess around. I have really good hit points at this point, so I kind of feel like if I charge him, I'm going to have a good shot at it. Unfortunately, he spots me and is facing my way, but I can get a good shot on him. I'm up on him on hit points, so I'm trying to push in now. I knew I could take that one shot, and he's on adrenaline, so if I can't get around him, I'll take another one. Luckily, I get the track shot in, but he is able to do it just in time, and here's where, I thought I might have messed it up. I could have played more cautious, but I was trying to use my hit point advantage, but that thing is such a dangerous tank, and then once he got my driver, but, luckily that's why you hold on to hit points, and like I said, I was a little rusty coming into this game, but luckily had enough left in the tank to go ahead and finish off that nice Rossini. 7-kill battle, over 4,000 damage with the Koblanovs in a Pershing. That is a ton of damage because of the low DPM, but certainly a nice one there. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to Mirage now, and I'm platooned with Howitzer. Also, this is a tier 9 battle, so it's always going to be a little bit more difficult, but this is a map that plays really well to the strengths of the Pershing. With all these nice rolling hills, you can kind of sit on the sides of them and use that gun depression or the edges of dunes, and so that's why I'm going to go ahead and push through. I like to be in the center here whenever I can, because I just feel like I get good range. There's lots of good cover in here, and I can kind of start to see if they're going to push into the waterfall area. And it looks like, unfortunately, they have, which is bad because our team is split up quite a bit. We've got two on the waterfall side that you can see on the mini-map, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be toast no matter what with the whole team pushing in. So we're going to be a little bit more cautious. But in general, when I can see and count red dots, essentially, that the team is pushed into the waterfall, and I'm already at this point on the flank, I really want to push all the way. But stay kind of on this side of the dunes. There's just a lot of cover, like I said, and you can start to whittle down the hit points, which you really need to do because they are up 2 tanks almost right off the bat. So we're in a pretty difficult situation, and they've gotten themselves in pretty defensible area as well. So just want to use this nice cover. I'm almost completely hull down. Certainly difficult shot at a distance, and be patient because now we're down by 3 tanks. So that is already, anytime you're down 3 tanks that fast, it's starting to look like a loss. So we just need to be patient at this point and try and start farming off those hit points. I want to go ahead and stay on this side because all of our team, you can see on the minimap, is kind of here together, but they're covering much more to the right side in that central hill. So at this point, I'm pretty much protecting our left flank, and that's what I want to do unless they change, which we assume, being up 3 tanks, eventually they're going to get antsy. So just like that, I see the waffle drop down on my platoon mate, so I'm rotating around to try and help him a little bit. I'm hoping he can stay careful and be okay, but even one shot's going to be pretty devastating from that tank, so I'm pushing through trying to help him a little bit. And if I remember, yep, right there, he does take a shot from it, so that's a pretty difficult, but it's pulled that low down as well, and the Type 61 is pushing around. We've got a tank coming up in the middle, so essentially I'm just going to start rotating out. We want to take that easy kill shot, but we've got these tanks in front of us, so we're just kind of rotating around because the tanks that I left on that left flank were pushed up to Mirage, so it'll take them a minute to kind of catch up with us. So I'm using just this cover to try and work on the low here a bit. Don't beat me up on the pronunciation, I never get it right, so just give me a pass on that one. But we're trying to get that kill because that's a pretty dangerous gun, and now I'm seeing on the map that we're starting to have tanks pop up back on that side, so they've worked around the flank. Now that I see both that T-32 and the IS-6 there, I decide to push forward. I need to kill this 61 because we can't get caught in a crossfire. And so that's the main thing I'm thinking here. I'm willing to take a couple shots to do it, but I'm just trying to keep angled and try and minimize how much he hits me, and luckily don't take any damage from him at all, which is kind of perfect. Now it's down to just the 2 of us with another Type 61 on our team. He's on the top where the low is, and we've got these 2 higher health tier 8 heavies down here, so I'm just using this cover to kind of work on them a little bit. I know I've got room to retreat if I need to, and so that's just kind of my thinking, but even with the APCR loaded, the IS-6 is just really tough to get through sometimes. You get some really lucky bounces. So now I'm keeping an eye. The IS-6 is pushing up to my type, and as soon as I see him kind of crest that hill, I want to go ahead and push the 32 because he's kind of left his teammate out to dry, and lets us go ahead and isolate that back down. The type probably could have ran away. I can't see what he's doing there, but he obviously takes the shot right here and gets taken out, so I'm not really sure what he was doing at that point, but he put us in a great position to win. So now I can go ahead and charge because, again, I've conserved those hit points. This tank is just really, really good at conserving hit points because you can stay defensive with that turret. And, again, because that IS-6 bounce, I mean, I don't know what that shot is right there. It's totally flush on the side, pure gray. I was trying to hit under his armor, into his wheels, and it didn't go through. It's just a frustrating thing. And I'm being a little picky now. This tank is expensive with the APCR, so I was trying to conserve, but after those couple bounces, go ahead and switch and go ahead and finish him off there. So, a nice Radley game on, when you're a low tier tank. Again, it just shows this tank, I feel like, can handle being low tier really well because of that nice turret ability and defensiveness. So, it just always lets you kind of stay in the game. It's a great finisher for sure. Okay, and one final gameplay to share. We are on Black Goldville here, and going to go ahead and do the normal thing and push up. Actually, I just realized I don't remember who I'm platooned with here. Maybe we can sneak peek. Oh, XJ and in his FCM, so that's always going to be an adventure. He's looking for the rare FCM win there. Not my favorite tank, but I know a lot of people can do pretty well in it. So we're going to go ahead and push up to caves. Do kind of our normal thing. Again, with the rework, this isn't necessarily as good a position as it used to be for a tank like this with a strong turret, but you can still manage it. The Pershing has large tracks, so it can also side scrape pretty well and eat some shells, so it's another opportunity if we were getting pushed by mediums. Just based on the lineup that we see on the other team, and the fact that we don't spot anything pretty quick, I'm pretty sure that they went ahead and went down. So I'm going to go ahead and come down in this area, and anytime that happens and I'm on that spawn side, I come right to this bush because it gives you a lot of cover. It gives you some ability to start getting some spots into that low. Apparently they're just beating me up with this one tank that I can't ever pronounce, so that's why I don't even try. But hoping to go ahead and put some shots into his turret and at least make him nervous, but he's in a pretty good spot. That's going to be difficult even with the APCR to whittle down. But our team has rotated quite a bit, and I can also see on the minimap their light is getting spotted on the other side of the map. What I'm always hoping for in this situation when they've gone down is that they don't drive through town and start coming up on the backside. I prefer them to stay in town because we can spot and start to whittle them down. But you just have to be aware of it and see if you start to get spots on that backside. I'm missing the shot on the Tiger too, but I'm trying to get those nice cheap shots in when I can and avoid getting spotted as much as I can. But when you roll through that far, sometimes you get enough outside the bush that they're going to pick you up. That Shpa is behind us, but not too worried about him right now until he starts pushing in. I'm trying to work on these bigger tanks. Should have loaded APCR for the side of the IS-6, but I was kind of hoping for a nice high pen roll, and unfortunately didn't. XJ had gotten a little bit too exposed over off to the side, and with that weak armor unfortunately went down, but that's sometimes the pain of driving that tank. And I'm getting some really nice lucky shots into the low again, but it's coming at a cost because the APCR, like I said, is pretty pricey on this tank, but it's also necessary. The standard AP pen is not super spectacular on this tank, but the APCR is very, very good, so it just kind of comes with the territory that occasionally you're going to have to burn some. Alright, so now we've got some tanks starting to push up to the right a little bit harder. But I'm nervous going out because I know that Liz, I really, really want him dead, but you can only spend so much time on it, and now we're up to another tank starting to push up to the right, so I'm really just doing everything I can to get rid of him. Fire one more shot because I didn't realize that the T-34 had managed to get the shot in, but that's perfect. Either way, the Super Pershing has gotten himself flanked, so probably isn't going to last, and so I'm just trying to stay pretty defensible here again, use that gun depression. It's going to be hard for them to get through. I'm helping him as much as I can, but running down and getting killed isn't necessarily necessarily the solution, because then you still are going to have to fight off multiple guns, which is difficult. I've got 3 tanks right here, so just trying to be careful with that as much as I can. Again, just those troll bounces on the IS-6. Just part of the game, kind of what you have to deal with. So I'm hoping they just keep pushing up exactly the way they are. I like to heal those viewfinders when I can, just because I want to be able to see them. I missed that track shot. That's an unfortunate one. That's lets me or makes me kind of take a shot in there. But I know I have plenty of room to roll back on this ridge against tanks that don't have fantastic gun depression. So I'm able to just kind of peek out and whittle down, and this is the Pershing absolutely at its best. If you're against some red tanks that aren't going to play you particularly aggressive, you can really abuse them with this gun depression and that mantlet, like I keep pressing on. So just being careful and moving around. They could pen my cheeks if I hold still, but when you're in motion, it's a very hard target to hit, and I know I can hit that commander's hatch on the Tiger too. So I've gotten them both down to 1-shots. Definitely know they're going to be nervous with that, but that's, like I said, this is why this is that great clutch tank, because there's only so many tanks in the game that you can just sit here right in the face of something else and know you have a good chance to win, as long as they don't kind of push up over the hill on you. So nice job kind of clearing that side, holding my flank. I was the only one over there at that point, but was still able to get those 3 tank kills. And now it's really just mop-up duty, so we're taking the time to go ahead and run on this IS-3. My team on this side that's been fighting whoever was left are both 1-shots, so it's still not a total gimme. And I'd used so many of my repairs, I had to wait so that my ammo rack could come back in. But as soon as it gets close, I realize that my team is pretty low health, and that's why I go ahead and repair that, because you just can't take wins for granted. And so I can go ahead and get that last kill on the IS-3 for the top gun and finish it off. So yeah, I know this is another video on the Pershing. Hopefully it continues to help. This does play over to other tanks well. I think this represents tier 10 tanks really well, so a lot of the skills overlap. But if you like this video, as always, please subscribe on YouTube. Also follow on Twitch. Play more gameplay coming.